Hi, welcome to another episode of American Sailing Sailor of the Month. I'm Christy, your host, and I love to tell the stories of sailors from around the world who have amazing stories that can inspire all of us. Today we're talking to Keith Allman. He is from Liberty Harbor, New Jersey, and he has an awesome story of his time in the Eximas and just a lot of great things to say about receiving a proper sailing education. I'm excited for you to meet him, and he is our November American Sailing Sailor of the Month. Hey Keith, thanks for joining us. Congrats on being the November 2023 Sailor of the Month. So glad you could join us here today and tell us your story.
Great, Christy. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've been sailing for 25 years and you got your start, I guess, in college. Can you kind of tell us where you're from and where you started sailing and a little bit of stories about the beginnings of your journey?
I was definitely dating myself with all that math. So, no, I started in college at UCLA, where I had been working at the Marina Center for a while,
Oh, nice.
and mostly just doing kayaking. And I'd always seen everyone do these day sailors. So that was my first course in college. Took, I think it was like 6 weeks, and was completely confused about the wind and right away. And then we had, I think, our first time out on the boats, we were using Catalina 15s,
Oh, nice.
where they have these little center boards that drop down.
Yeah.
And no one told me that like half of the old Catalina 15s, the center boards never actually drop when you pull the rope. So we set out and first time on a sailboat in Marina Del Rey and had no control over the boat at all. Just kept drifting and the instructors yelling at us.
Oh, how
Eventually,
funny.
all this you have to just like keep hammering on the center board to get it down.
Yeah, Marina Del Rey is where American Sailing's kind of based, so I'm sure that was kind of fun for you to be in that area. It's a nice place to sail for sure.
Yeah, no, I love it now. I haven't been back since college days, but yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Lenny looked out and saw a bunch of sailors trying real hard and decided to start some curriculum. That's cute. So yeah, so for 25 years now though, you've been at it. Like
Yeah,
tell us about some of the trips you've been on and some of your favorite moments.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I took a break, I guess, for a while. I think
Yeah,
it was harder to do when you're kind of like in your 20s.
sure.
I would just kind of sail with friends who had boats,
Mm,
and really started picking it up more seriously probably about 10 years ago.
okay.
Uh, and that's kind of where ASA came in. I took 101 and 103, even though at that point it was more refresher, but it was good just to go step by step through everything.
Yeah.
Um, I think before that, though, I did do kind of a few kind of like week on a boat type skipper things.
Okay.
Through Greece was one of like the ones that I really got hooked. Like I was like, oh, I want to actually be able to charter my own boat.
Yeah.
Uh, so we went all around Santorini,
Okay.
Eos, and then the ability to go to the much smaller islands that the ferries didn't stop at.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. Like Heraclea, um, I think, and that too was a little bit more technical where you started learning Mediterranean moorings. And I was like, oh, I need to learn how to do all this type of stuff. Uh,
Awesome. That's so cool. That's such a great experience because it's like not something everybody ends up getting to do unless you take the time to go out there.
yeah, no, definitely. And now I kind of split my time. I have my own boat here in New York. Um,
Okay.
and then every year we do a kind of a friends trip where 6 to 8 of us get on a catamaran and go somewhere.
Nice. So what kind of boat do you have in New York?
I have an Oceanus 30.1.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
over in Liberty. So it's technically New Jersey. So I keep it over
Yeah.
in Liberty Harbor.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's a great little boat. I mean, it's got two cabins, perfect size, and it's really good for like local New York, New Jersey sailing.
Nice. So you just mostly do day sails on that.
Do day sails. I sometimes mix it with work, like some work events.
Okay.
We've gone up to do kind of like an overnighter here and there, but
Yeah.
not. I mean, theoretically, I guess I could take it all around the coast, but
Yeah.
uh, mainly keep it in this area. And I keep it in sail time. Um,
Okay.
so it's just a good way to kind of balance the cost of it.
Yeah, that's smart. There's a lot of people kind of move into that model. So you get the privilege of owning a boat, but not the upkeep and the work side of it as much.
They do a lot of great maintenance on it.
Yeah.
So stuff that otherwise I'd have to figure out myself.
Yeah, yeah. It's like having a staff. That's cool. So talk about a little bit. You said that you go with like 6 to 8 friends, and tell me about those trips.
Yeah, no, we started probably 4 or 5 years ago, and we did a very easy entry one, which is BVI.
Hmm.
Uh, and I think a lot of people got hooked on that. Actually, I have a couple friends from these trips who are now, I think, getting their 104
Okay.
um,
Nice.
this Thanksgiving, actually, in a couple of weeks.
Oh, cool.
Um, so we started pretty easy with BVI.
Yeah.
Uh, that was, that was must have been like 2018.
Okay.
Uh, and when was it? I think we may have skipped 2019.
Okay.
Uh, but then one of the best ones we did was in 2020. We did the Exumas. So that was like a week long. It was just a really special trip, I think, because COVID had kind of hit everyone in starting earlier in that year,
Hmm.
and we're still tentative to kind of go travel.
Yeah.
Uh, but we got a group together where we did everyone got like pre-tested and
Nice.
chose the Exumas too because it was mostly uninhabited islands that we were going to go to. And it was just this like weird sense of normality coming back to where we didn't have masks on, and we
Yeah.
all left Nassau for what was it? Highburn Key was my first destination,
Okay.
and it was just like liberating. Like we were kind of like
Yeah.
out, and like the world was kind of a crazy place still at that time.
Hmm.
Um, and then yeah, we hit Highburn Key. It was gorgeous. I had done that sail before, actually when I did my 104.
Okay.
So kind of knew all the little destinations to go to. So we stopped at Highburn Key and actually had um, a slip there ready for us, which was great. We kind of got off. I think after that, maybe we hit Shroud Key. You kind of do the washing machine swim. I
Yeah.
don't know if you're familiar with that.
I am not. No, what is that?
So Shroud Key. I think it's Shroud Key. You anchor and you take the dinghy out, and you're not supposed to use the engine on, so you're taking the dinghy through like rowing it through the mangroves,
Uh-huh.
and you kind of cut through this key that's looking from the Atlantic side over towards the Bahamas side.
Okay.
And at the right tidal points, you have to kind of time it perfectly for when the tide's going out. There's this narrow area that you can jump off rocks and it rushes you around in a
Oh, how
circle.
fun.
Yeah, so we kind of did things like that.
That's cool.
And then there was one of the most memorable parts was Wardrobe Wells on New Year's.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we sailed into there's this little bit of a horseshoe area
Okay.
that we went into Wardrobe Wells with, and it's just like stunning because in the middle of it is a sandbar that's like in low tide 1 or 2 feet deep, a
Nice.
deep blue ring of just clear water. And we were expecting it to be totally packed because like New Year is one of the most beautiful spots. Uh, I think it was mainly during COVID. And then the other interesting part is you can't have any like the mega yachts that come around that area can't fit into.
Okay.
So it was just us and another catamaran,
Oh, how
and
cool.
you sail in, and the parks there had designed the mooring system, so they really check your length, and
Hmm.
they had a very specific mooring ball for us. And
Oh, nice.
it was a really technical attachment too, because there's like a rush of water coming around the horseshoe.
Oh, wow.
But once you hook into it, you swing with the
Yeah.
current, and the back of the boat then just almost to the point where you could walk off the back right onto the sandbar.
How awesome. That's superb. So did you guys go swim and enjoy that?
Yeah, we extended our days there. I think we spent like 2.5 days just on Wardrobe Wells.
Yeah.
Um,
Very cool. So were the sailors you were with, were they already sailors when you went, or did you convert them?
they've slowly been converted.
Yeah.
There's two.
Congrats on that.
They took 101, 103, I think, this year finally, after kind of 4 or 5 years of like our mini vacation sailing school.
Nice. When the bug bites, you have to do it. That's very cool. So what do you have planned coming up?
Um, we just finished Croatia this year, so that
Okay.
was this year. We're probably well, we actually have it booked, but there's a wedding in Sicily. So we're
Oh,
doing
awesome.
Italy and the islands next year.
You're getting a lot of Mediterranean experience.
a lot in the med. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have, I guess you have an IPC or
Yeah. So I got the IPC for Greece, which we did 2 years ago, which was
mhm,
perfect. People like when you're taking out the boat, they're definitely looking at that.
yeah.
Um, and it's there's a different set of sailing skills, I think, because as you encounter things from like Greece where you're doing more of the med moorings or long lines ashore,
Hmm.
versus like Croatia where you have um, the slime lines or the lazy
Hmm.
lines,
Yeah.
that you kind of pick up right there. So each has been a little bit different.
Yeah. Very cool. Do you find navigating like the channel markers, the differences between, United States ones a little challenging or
Sometimes I think some of the places just aren't even marked that well, so
yeah.
you plan in advance.
Yeah, very cool. Awesome. So what's next for you in terms of like your curriculum path, or you got anything planned there?
Yeah, so I think I'm actually been planning to try to take a 106 course next
Okay.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of mine that's in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Um, so that's just been something where I want to get more and more offshore. So
Yeah.
there's things like sailing through the night. I haven't
Mhm.
I've done some night sailing, but just like when it's dark, not like through a full night passage. So
Okay, so like a keep and watch and trading
yeah,
shifts and things like that.
that's and then there's I think certain things with heavier weather and
Yeah.
getting better with some of the maybe upgraded systems that you don't really get on a charter boat or what's on my boat.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, what kind of keeps you coming back for more on the educational side? Do you have like goals to like completely throw off the lines and become a permanent sailor at some point, or you just like upgrading your knowledge? Like what's your mindset there?
I'd like upgrading the knowledge, just keeping like as I've been sailing each year, you encounter different things.
Yeah.
I feel it's just like being prepared for each of those. And
Hmm.
sometimes you're just not. You have to learn it on the fly. But
Yeah.
like as you take each of these courses, you kind of have each of these things that you've learned that help you in those situations.
Yeah.
Um, so like a good example would be we spent a lot of time, what was it? I took 114, the catamaran course,
Okay. Yeah.
and our that was through BlackRock, and our instructor there spent a lot of time just on like fine engine control and how you're navigating the marinas
Okay.
with kind of the dual use of the engine and pivoting. And I can't tell you, like Croatia was just madness with Yacht Week there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we went into uh, a marina where there was like 70 catamarans,
Oh my goodness.
a lot of holes, like neck and neck. I mean, it was to the point where if you had to pull out of the channel, you actually couldn't fully pull out. You had to pull out angle to turn.
Oh wow.
And then there was wind, and this is kind of where you see just like completely reckless sailors. People were hitting boats left and right.
Oh yeah.
But it
Wow.
was at that point I was like, I really appreciated some of those minor motoring trainings that we did.
Yeah, it kind of shifts it from being like a panic nightmare to really just a puzzle that you're equipped for if you can get your brain to turn on and navigate the situation.
Yeah, total. And I think heavy weather too is just the other aspect that I want to get before it occurs. Like I've hit a few squalls here and there, but
Yeah.
nothing terrible.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think just being able to read the weather better and avoiding those.
Yeah, for sure. Were the squalls that came up, did they kind of sneak up on you or
Yeah, one did actually both did. And one of them we were actually docked at the time. The other
mm,
we were just in the middle. I think we were probably a couple miles off of an island when it hit. And you
uh,
could see coming the first one. So we were able to get everyone kind of prepared for it. Um, and just kind of rode through it. Wasn't too long.
yeah,
The other one that was just super surprising, like that's where I should have just been checking the weather more,
yeah.
was when we were docked. It was in Croatia. I mean, it had to be like 40, 50-mile-an-hour winds that
Oh my goodness.
caused some damage at a restaurant next door. We were worried our sail actually started raising.
Oh no.
We had just docked, and so
Yeah.
we had to lash it down. I mean, it was pure chaos.
Oh wow. Well, you're sitting here telling me the story, so I guess everything was fine in the
Yeah,
end.
no, we've had a few of our these little incidents here and there that
Yeah.
pop. They're usually good stories later.
Mother Nature will make you a better sailor and a storyteller if she doesn't kill you.
Yeah,
That's
gives you the
awesome.
terror.
What's that?
Gives you the sheer terror that
Yeah,
everything's generally going well, and then you have the sheer terror.
yeah, yeah. It's a real thing. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. So with you said you went to Black Rock. What's the I think you mentioned another school that you've been through.
Boston Sailing School.
Okay, awesome.
That was a while back. I had done I think just timing wise, I took 101 with Black Rock and then
Yeah,
103 with Boston sailing. And then I went back to Black Rock for 104, 114 combo.
very cool. What do you find kind of when you get with your instructors on the boat? Like, how do you connect with them? Like, what puts you at ease, and how do you like grow your knowledge out of that relationship?
Yeah, I think with Black Rock in particular, I think the instructor I typically had there was Brenton, and Brenton had this like deep background starting
Yeah,
out, being in a maritime academy, and
nice.
he has done it professionally for a large part of his life.
Yeah.
So I think knowing that the stuff that he was teaching comes more from just a pure nautical school background, and that it was a professional
Mm-hmm.
background on how to do things was really helpful, I thought.
Yeah.
Uh, and he was just really excited about explaining every part of it, which is like that type of enthusiasm coupled with that knowledge, I thought was phenomenal.
When did
So
you know that you were going to bite the bullet and charter a boat and put yourself out there?
not really. I mean, I knew it's what I wanted to do, but I think when
Yeah.
I started signing up, I was like, okay, let's let's start doing this as getting more serious about it.
Yeah.
And what was actually interesting with BlackRock, they had this thing called a catamaran club. Uh,
Okay.
so it was over the summers. I used to live up in Boston for a while, and for 3 summers in a row, I was just part of this club where three of us had a share of this catamaran that they had, and
Awesome.
we would sail it all around Narragansett,
Yeah.
out of Warwick, and you could go to like Newport and Bristol and those other
Mm-hmm.
uh, just beautiful Rhode Island ports.
Awesome. It doesn't
Yeah, so
hurt when
that was a great way to just like take what we had learned, but start putting it up into, I think, a little bit more self-sufficiency, because you're
Mhm.
like mini chartering, I felt like,
Yeah.
where we had it for like 3, 4 days at a time, and but you were in a very protected like local area that you knew.
That's awesome. That's like a great sort of build up to let's go to the BVIs now kind of thing.
Yeah, BBI too, and we did it during
Yeah.
Christmas New Year's week, which is just madness down there.
Yeah. You like the crowds, huh?
Not always. It's just when you can take vacation sometimes. I mean,
Yeah.
the crowds, like, I don't know if I would do BVI during Christmas again.
Yeah.
Good win.
That makes sense. Yeah. Well, very cool. Thanks, Keith, so much for sharing your story. Is there anything you want to share with the rest of the sailing community before we let you go here?
No, no, no. Thank you for the opportunity. I think it's been ASA has been great. So it's been like a big part of my life the last few years.
Awesome. We love to hear that. And we love to hear from you when you come back from your next trip and catch up with you and keep up with your story.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Keith. That's a wrap. Congratulations, Keith, on being American Sailing's Sailor of the Month for November. We appreciate you telling us your story. If you have a story to tell and you'd like to share it, we'd love to hear it. Please check us out at asa.com/sailor of the month.